Black Clover Mobile has been out for a few days, and with my God complex, I feel the need to make a tier list. Now, obviously the game has been out for only a few days, and as much as I have read what every single character does, I can't humanly possibly have used every single character, especially the Rs and SRs. I have used a good portion of the SSRs, but even then, I can only pull so many, let alone level up so many. So there will be a gap in my knowledge for this tier list. I hope for the next one, in like a month, there will be, I'll be more knowledgeable on literally every single character, including the Rs and SRs, but right now, this is all we can do. This will be very PvP based, especially because ranking PvP characters is so much easier, because we have a character ranking in the game. You have the list of players that are at the top, and the teams they've been using. So it's very easy to base the tier list around that. Even then, there's only, a few selected characters people are using, and the characters people aren't using, there might be some that they just didn't pull, or didn't pull as many dupes of, especially like the top players. Currently, I'm on top 100. I have not spent a single crystal buying PvP stamina, and that just because I haven't really been losing much. I've just been getting my way around the meta, and it's been pretty fun so far playing PvP. So let's start ranking the God tier characters. Both Yamis are absolutely amazing. To me, it kind of sucks that they dropped two Yamis together, because it's like, who am I going to use? They're both super, super good. In my opinion, in the current meta, Blue Yami has a bit of an advantage. Only because most good characters are blue. The meta is very blue-centric, and you're going to see this when we get to more other blue characters. Maybe I should have taken screenshots so you can see the element of the characters. Give me a second. Okay, this list is some of the characters blurred out because the player who took these screenshots doesn't have these characters, but at least you can see the elements of the characters, so you can understand better what I'm talking about. But both Yamis are amazing. Honestly, you can level up either or. If you want to use this tier list as who should I level up, who should I pull for? Either Yami is really good. I think right now, Blue Yami has a decent advantage over Red Yami, but all the top players are using Red... Not all, but majority of the top players are using Red Yami. He's just so good. So I think in the long run, Red Yami will be better. But let's talking about the other blue characters. Lotus is a beast. Just it's so random. Who even is this guy, bro? He's a nobody, and he's an absolute beast. And he's blue. William, absolute beast, and he's blue. So you can see here how the blue-centric meta is forming here as we are making the tier list. And if you go on the rankings, all the top players are using these three characters. Not all of them, but majority of players are using these three right here, actually. Red Yami, William, Lotus, and then there's a combination of other characters people are using. So a character that is very polarizing right now, I've been seeing a lot of people saying he's garbage, a lot of people saying he's God. In my opinion, Mars is very strong. I've been using Mars on my team, and there are times where, because of his stun chance, not stun guarantee, either he wins me the game or he loses me the game by just not doing anything the whole match. So there is that, but when he wins me the game by himself by stunning three or more of the enemies, it's a big deal. So Mars can be a flip-flop, but he works, and as you will see, majority of top players are using Mars, but there's a few other characters people are swapping Mars for, and other characters people swap, like William. Maybe they haven't pulled William. Red Seasonal Asta is super, super good. He is the best single target DPS. I was under the impression that Jack would be better, especially in the blue-centric meta as well. But even in this blue-centric meta, Red Asta one-shots blue characters. Like, he's just... I'm currently top 100, so the players that I play are around my ranking, and he just one-shots blue Yamis. He one-shots Williams, or at least mine does. I have the war gear on my Asta right now, and he does so much damage. The best single target DPS in the game. And if there are green characters, like there's a lot of people running this guy, Mimosa, Rill, they all get one-shotted. Like, they just all get one-shotted. Asta is very, very strong, and this is why, like, the seasonal banner is so strong. You have Asta and Blue Yami from that banner, just two absolutely god-tier characters. There are a bunch of characters I would like to put up here, But because it's PvP-centric tier list, I can't really. And this is where the God tier ends, in my opinion. I think Finro could make an argument for that, but you will see that none of the top players are using Finro. None of them. The SR stats, I think, are what pulls him, a little behind. But for an SR to be he's better. Like, this is not ranked exactly like how I put here, but he is better than, I think, all of the rest of the SSRs in PvP. But Finro is very, very strong. His speed boost, in a speed game, speed is king, majority of the time. And this is why Lotus is also super, super good. He lowers speed. So, he buffs speed, but I think the fact that Lotus exists is what cocks Finro. Every single defense team has Lotus, and he lowers your speed right after you increase everyone's speed. It's a bit of a bummer. Maybe in the future, Finro, if Lotus ever drops off meta, might become better, but this guy, he's like the best support in the game after William. He's like the best support in the game after William because of speed boost. And, I play Epic 7, I play Star Rail. Speed is king. Like, speed, if you can outspeed and lap multiple times, you win the game by just sheer force of having multiple turns. And Finro tries to do that, but he gets kind of caught in his place by Lotus. And again, if we're talking about, PvP, you're going to be facing Lotus like about every match. I think Mimosa can make an argument for being God tier as well. Oh, I didn't rename the tiers. But only if we're prioritizing PvE. I have played quite a bit with Mimosa. Mimosa was like one of my first LRs, so I have a lot of experience with her. And in PvP, she sucks. Like, there are quite a few top players using Mimosa, actually, which surprises me. If I go down here, like, the 7th top player is using Mimosa. He's using, like, a double support team. Like, there are a few players at the top, like, 20 using Mimosa. Like, 4 of the 20, I think. And that surprises me because I've used her quite a bit and she sucks in PvP. The healing cannot pace the amount of damage that Astas and Yamis can do. It just can't. And this game doesn't have like, it's not like Epic 7 where the healer is gonna have like insane effect resistance, so debuffers can't do anything to healers. If the enemy has a Mars, he's probably gonna stun her, or Lotus is gonna speed lower her so she's not gonna get as many turns in. It's a bit of a situation for Mimosa, but in PvE she's very, very good, as I have found in difficult stages. Farming, she kind of sucks, but in difficult stages she has been very, very good to me, so I can't put her anything below that. Now this dude also can make contention. I see him a lot, like, because my team is very red focused, my Asta and Yami, he gets deleted by my team, but a lot of top players are using him right now. The shield is very, very strong that he provides. So as a defender character, I think he's the best defender in the game. Like, as much as he is, like, Mars is technically a defender character, he's more of a debuffer, really. I don't know why he has the defender title and not debuffer title, because that's practically what he's being used for. I was just checking to make sure I wasn't making a mistake and know exactly what he does. Yeah, like, he's a debuffer. It's really weird. I guess the provoke from his S1, I suppose, can be like, considered to be a tank, but as a true defender of your team, I think he's by far the best. The defender Asta is one that I see a lot, but he defends himself pretty good, but not the rest of the team. Like, the shield from him is actually pretty good. Jack is a really great single target damage alternative. Right now with lots of red Yamis, I think he's pretty good because he's blue. But like I said, I think just Asta is better in every way. Could be wrong, but I haven't seen the Jacks in PvP. I think Jack and Asta are like, if there's a boss, like say in PvE, right? And the element of the boss is green or red, that's gonna differ who you actually want to bring. If the boss is green, you might want to bring Asta. If the boss is red, you might want to bring Jack. If the boss is blue, you might want to bring Jack because you can't really bring Asta. There's no really great single target green DPS as far as I can tell. Like, he wants to be one, but not, he can't really do it. So, but yeah, Jack is pretty good, but not all that. Now Real, I thought I was gonna put Real here, because the nerf was pretty drastic. But having faced many Reals, I have lost to one because Real stunned my whole team. The way I see Real is like he's a worse Mars, but he's in that vein. He's trying to stun. The defense lower is good too, of course, but he's not quite there. And especially with his damage being so low, I don't know. I just feel like he's a worse Mars, the way I see it. The more I faced quite a bit of Reals, like there's a bunch of Reals actually. I was expecting to see way less. The way I see it, he's just a worse Mars. But if you pull him and you don't pull Mars, he's a pretty good option for what he is. Alright, to end this tier, I'm gonna end with Yuno. He's very, very good as a DPS. Right now with a very blue meta, I think he is the best PvP green DPS. Now, that doesn't mean much. I still think that if you have, you know, all these blue characters and you have the option to use Yuno against them, I would still use the blue characters. Like, I would still go with the full mono blue team against a blue team instead of using Yuno. He's very good, and I've seen like a lot of top players were using him. They're not using him anymore. They're not really using him anymore, but they were, and he is pretty good. So he's at the bottom of the tier. I'm not ranking them exactly, but it kind of looks like I am. He could be on the I tier, but there was a lot of hype for him when the game first dropped, but right now there's not so much. So the characters under, I honestly think, shouldn't even be SSRs because they just don't do enough. So Vermilion is currently a, I don't want to say festival character, but he's an exclusive character. He's a banner exclusive character like Yami. Yami and him have two separate banners that you can pull for, and they're like the featured unit, and they're not unfeatured in other banners. So they're kind of exclusive, it seems like, and Yami is just by far and away the best option. This guy wants to be a DPS so bad, but even in a very blue meta, nobody's using him. I think I scrolled through all the top 100, there's like one guy using him at like 5 stars. So, oh, there's one guy also using him. There's two people out of the top 100 are using him. And again, on a very blue meta, a green DPS SSR is not being used. That just should sound to you as horrible as it sounds. You know, not very great. And, you know, can't really do much. I'll be honest, the more I looked at what she does, the more I didn't know where I wanted to place her, because it sounds like she can be great. Because in the mono red team, she's gonna apply attack buff and crit damage buff to everybody. But, like I said, meta's very blue right now, and Finral is just a better version of her. He can apply the crit damage buff to everybody. They don't have to be red. It's a chance, but, you know, having to use a full mono red team in a full blue meta versus using Finral and then, you know, buffing everybody randomly, I think is better, so you don't restrict your team so much. Making a mono red team is not even that good right now. I guess the mono red team would be Yami, Asta, Finral, and her, because the other red characters kind of suck. So it's not looking good for her right now. But I think in the future she can be very great. It's just attack buffer. Attack buffers tend to be characters that are generally decent and can last for a little while. So I'm hoping to see more action from her in the future, but right now doesn't seem to be all that. To end the SSRs from this tier, I was kind of disappointed on this guy. He was really good in the beta. Really, really good. He got kind of changed and nerfed a bit for, as far as I remember, this was like 6 months ago, for the real game. And he's just a worse Mars. He has like this poison thing, and he only can stun one enemy, and it's a chance. Like, Mars can stun all the enemies for a chance. He can stun one enemy for a chance. So I think that just really cocks the character. In another timeline, I would love Nozo to be good. I'm sorry, I keep saying him and her because I'm terrible with names. And I read the manga, I didn't watch the anime, so I don't know how to pronounce all the names. But again, a little bit disappointing, but you know, is what it is. I'm gonna skip the explanation for the SRs, so I'll be right back. I was gonna skip the explanation for all the SRs, but I'm gonna explain just a few of them. SR Asta is not the worst character ever, but I haven't faced one in PvP that has actually done anything. The taunt thing works for like a turn, and then he still has like high defense, but then you can attack the other characters, so it's like completely useless. Any DPS that is not an SSR is generally not going to be very good. Like, you know, it's kind of an exception. He is the only character that stands above the rest a little bit, so I still gave him the I tier. Healers are not very good in general in this game, so she couldn't be much higher than this, but she seems to be, for what I can read, the better of the true SR healers. Or, is there more than true SR healers? I think there's 3. No, there's true SR healers, okay. So, at the bad tier, I'm going to slot these true SSRs in here. So, Charlotte? I don't know. She was, I think, the worst character in the beta, SSR-wise. And I think she's still the worst SSR in the game. So, I don't remember exactly what she did in the beta. But the whole combo she has right now, where she needs to apply a mark, and then the other attack does increase damage, it's just trash. Like, she's just actually really bad. Some characters are just bad, you know. Leo, I might admit, I could be a little biased here. But every time I faced him in PvP, he's just so trash. Like, he has this attack that only hits 2 enemies instead of like, it's a semi-AoE. And I swear to God, it's tuned to be a full AoE because it does like no damage. And it's supposed to be like a HP scaler, from what I can read here. So, in theory, it can be good. But the whole, like, applying burn should be guaranteed, I think. Because burn doesn't seem to be that great of a debuff anyways. He just doesn't work all that well. I think he's honestly one of the worst SSRs. I think she's worse for sure. But he is probably the second worst SSR, from what I can tell. So, like I said, I'm just slotting the other SRs. Most of my opinions can change in a month. Or not most, but a few of them. Because the game is so new, there's going to be a lot of new tech people are going to find out. So, I would say take a little bit of grain of salt when taking anyone's opinions so far into the game, like so early. Because again, people are really hyped about like SR Uno and Finro, but like right now no one's using them at the top. Like they were talking like these were god units, but no one's using them at the top anymore. So if you already, you know, evolved them, they're still pretty good and you could use them. But if the top players are not using them, there's a reason why. So I would say, you know, in a month, people are going to be more, you know, educated, and as long as the game goes, you know, it just keeps getting more and more refined, the information. So this is a rough estimate of what you should be pulling / working on, in my opinion.